you're branding yourself so that if and when people hear your name somewhere else, it correlates back to having heard you speak and having you right. So that's, when you market something, your product is your agency. When I market something, my product is my client, is an athlete.
Hey there, hot messes. Welcome to Success of a Hot Mess, where we celebrate the art of juggling life's chaos and coming out on top. I'm Stacey Isaacs, your host and resident rock star lawyer, dance mom, and survivor. We're going to dive into candid conversations about conquering challenges, embracing our unique selves, and finding success in the beautiful mess of it all. Hey, hot messers. Today, I have the privilege of having my friend and sorority sister, Bari Wolfman, here on the podcast. Bari, thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Can you tell us what you do for a living?
I do sports marketing for Rosenhaus Sports. It's an agency based out of Miami, Florida. We represent football, Major League Baseball players, and now we have some college and even high school players that we do marketing for.
Were you always a fan of sports growing up?
Yes, definitely always a fan of sports. Grew up in New Jersey watching the Giants, the Yankees with my dad. Met you at Miami, Hurricanes. So yeah, I'd say I didn't play sports, but I always was a fan of sports.
That is interesting because I, have always tried to like sports. I wanted to be that girl, but I just never really understood football, and I was a cheerleader, but that's about it. So I do find it interesting that your career has been in sports. Is that something you studied at University of Miami?
Not sports, but marketing.
Okay.
Took me a while to get back to it because I wasn't in marketing right away after graduation. I did more retail-based for a few years and then found my way into this, and now, have come full circle. So marketing degree, sports marketing, but yeah, it wasn't a straight line. I can't say I would have seen myself getting into sports, right out of high school. It definitely wasn't. And there was no sports marketing or sports administration or all of these majors and programs that are around these days at colleges. I don't think there was anything like that when we were in school. Your
sons must think you're so cool. You get to meet all these athletes.
They've met them too. I think in the background they know how cool it is and some of the cool things and places we've gotten to take them to. They don't tell me I'm cool. No kids
no,
ever.
Of course not.
No kids telling their mom they're cool. But I have said to my son before, your mom's never gonna be cooler than she is right at this moment. At one of the things we were at, I'm like, and just remember this because this is pretty neat. So
yeah, I remember you told me you couldn't come to my little birthday dinner because you had to go meet Bon Jovi.
Right. That was sort of work related. That was a connection through work who got me there. But no, we've had some really high profile clients over the years: Rob Gronkowski, Antonio Brown, Chad Johnson. Really big names that probably I'm looking at your face.
Yeah,
absolutely nothing.
Armando,
nothing to you, maybe.
Our producer here,
maybe. And currently Tyreek Hill and DJ Moore and Aaron Jones. So not to name drop, but that is the cool part of what we do is to be able to say all that. Now on a day-to-day basis, it's still a job like anything else, and has its ups and downs. But yeah, definitely some highlights.
And you've been with Rosenhaus Sports for over 23 years.
Yeah.
So you did not take any time off, you had your babies and...
I started, right after. That's kind of how it happened, was my husband was presented with an opportunity to work with a friend of ours from college, someone that played when we were there. After he was finished in his NFL career, he was a client of the agency during his tenure in the NFL, and he had an opportunity to become an employee, work, and handle the marketing side of things. And so he asked my husband, do you kind of want to start, do this with me? Let's figure it out. Sports marketing 23 years ago wasn't definitely what it is today. So there was not a whole lot of guidelines. There weren't big, like I said, there was no programs at a college. We kind of built it as we went. So being home with 2 kids at the time, it was a little bit of, hey, you can do this. Oh, you can write up this. Can you figure out oh, you have that program where you did something, with me posters, you can. so it kind of just morphed into this role of myself, my husband, and a friend of ours from college, kind of figuring stuff out for a while until things got, social media changed everything in the world of sports marketing. That, has probably been the biggest change there. And in just the whole, I'd say the meeting of the world of sports and the world of Hollywood has really morphed a lot now or then, and that created a lot of change and a lot more opportunities for athletes.
So when someone says to me, law firm marketing, I know what that means, but
I don't. What does that mean?
So that means we need people to market the law firm so that we can bring in business, right? So what we're doing right now is a form of marketing because people hear Stacey Isaacs, and I talk about how I'm an owner of work injury rights, and so it won't really bring in clientele because my clientele is probably not ever going to listen to the podcast, but it will. Other lawyers might listen and say, hey, let's send a case to work injury rights.
So a lot of name recognition, brand, like your branding of your agency, you're branding yourself so that if and when people hear your name somewhere else, it correlates back to having heard you speak and having you, right. So that's, when you market something, your product is your agency. When I market something, my product is my client, is an athlete.
How are athletes as clients? Are they, can they be divas?
Sure.
But overall, is there a theme? In other words, I know my clientele is calling me at a very low point in life. Yours, it's probably quite the opposite.
Yeah, for sure. Yes, definitely. We're working with guys who are making millions of dollars on the field. My job has nothing to do with that part of their career, though, right? I have nothing to do with their contract with their team or, all of that. We handle trying to build their brand off the field. And yep, they're at a high point in their life at the time. I would say the majority of them, just like you hear, live a regular life. They go to work, right? That's what they say. Like I said, call me after work. And it doesn't feel like you would call what they do work because we watch them and we put them like Hollywood on, pedestals. And we're like, you're not real. It's on television, so it's fake. But it's not. Their job is to play football. And we just get to watch them do their job where no one comes and watches me and no one but when you break it down like that, that's really what they're doing. They go to work every day. They wake up. They have schedules, like I've had it sent to me, like, hey, you find time for me to do that today. You look at what I have. And they have a schedule every minute, whether they're in practice, whether they're in lunch, whether they're in meetings, whether they're in, doing some sort of health and wellness, all day long. I'll be home at 7. That's when we can chat. Just like you and I. They come home to families. They come home to kids. Some of them come home to moms, dads. Sometimes you're talking young kids. Now that we're working with kids in college, these are kids sometimes. So
have you encountered, 23 years is a long time, and things are a lot different today than they were 20 years ago. Have you encountered any resistance from male athletes to deal with you because you're female?
No, I wouldn't say. I've been asked that question before, and I've never seen it. Let's be honest, I don't come to it in the same way that a male counterpart of mine doing a similar role at the agency can maybe talk with them or shoot the shit with them, right, the way I can, or the way they can. I don't do that. So I think, and at this age and my age, the age discrepancy is, I think maybe it's more of, at this point, like a mothering role, because I do meet with families as well. It's not just the one client. I'm sure you do that too. It's like sometimes the person is, a husband or a wife, you speak to the other one, or if they're younger, maybe their parents do get involved. And same thing with us. We're working for families a lot of the time. And so here I am, working for your son, but relating to the mom. I have kids that are actually older than your kids at this point.
Right.
And so I know what it's like. Sometimes we're talking, and now that they're in college and not just, professional athletes, we're talking to them and I can relate to them in that way. I wouldn't say that I've really felt anybody who's ever said, I don't, think you're capable because you're a woman in this position, although it's sports and I've heard and seen it, maybe because I'm not on the contract side of things, maybe I wouldn't have the same respect doing that. But on the marketing side and the PR side and the media side, No,
So
I've
do you
never.
deal with the PR? If one
Mm-hmm.
of your clients gets a domestic violence charge?
We don't necessarily do so much crisis PR. We do more of like branding PR. So it's more like, Sunday comes and a player has a great game on Sunday. On Monday, I'm out there like, who wants to talk to this person, or the media who I have the relationships with is coming to me and saying so-and-so had 3 touchdowns. Can we get them on for a conversation? So again, just building that kind of off the field presence. We don't really do too much, knock on wood, haven't needed to, but crisis PR.
Do you love what you do?
I do. I love what I do. Again, I mean, there's always like the work aspect of it. If I didn't have to be working and I could just be, sitting around, I wouldn't be happy doing that either. I wouldn't say that. If I wasn't doing this, I would absolutely be doing something else. I can't tell you what that would be, but I'm definitely not the kind of person that would just stop working and then just not have another job. I'll always be the person that has to have stuff going on and be volunteering and having, multiple things on my calendar a day. That's just who I am.
Do you have any advice for other women or men who are juggling businesses, kids, hobbies, charities, all that stuff? Because I know you managed to find the time, and I do not have that efficiency to like go have lunch with you guys because it eats up like 2 hours in the middle of the day. I just can't do it.
So I'm able to do it because my job is flexible. Right, I work from home, and I've worked from home the entire 23 years that I've been with the company. It's not a function of COVID. It's always been a remote position. The whole agency has always worked from home for that factor. So I have the freedom of, if I go to lunch for 2 hours and I still have stuff that has to be done at a certain time, I could just go home and get right back to work.
I think you told me you'll be working like really late at night.
I could be. I mean, if I choose to be, like I could be watching a show on Netflix and then working on, invoicing and things like that if I wanted to. Like I have certain things when you're reaching out to agencies. Yeah, there's 9 to 5, Monday through Friday sort of parameters. But if I'm ready to reply to an email and I send it at 11 o'clock at night, I'm not expecting an answer at 11. I'm not expecting to engage in a full-on conversation, but I've gotten it out, and then tomorrow when they get in the office, then we continue and follow up. Some people don't have that luxury, so I have the ability to work on Saturday and Sunday from home. Right now I have kids that are older. You kind of still have kids that need to be driven around. I don't have that anymore. My kids are 2 out of the house and 1, in high school driving. So they're self-sufficient. So I have the luxury of, staying home on a Saturday, and I don't have to go to sports. I don't have to go to birthday parties. So I could work 3 hours on a Saturday and make up for the time, that I could be able to go to lunch or
right. And your clients probably aren't bothering you in the middle of the day.
No, because they're working.
Right.
So they're working, and so I'm working more during the day, building the relationships with the partners and the brands, so that come 7, 8 o'clock at night when they are off from work, that's when I could have a conversation with them and say, hey, this is the opportunity. Like, this is the company that wants to, here's the deal, here's the deliverables, or hey, this is the stuff you already have on your to-do list that we need to get through. I can't do that during the day because they're at work. So I'm kind of forced to work those kind of, off hours when they're not. Yeah, when they're not on the field.
And you, just like me, work with your spouse, right?
Yes.
So how have you overcome any challenges? Because I know married couples who work together have challenges.
Yes. Well, I moved my office out of the office. That was number one, about 10 years ago.
I did that too, and it's been phenomenal.
Right. So one day I literally just dragged my daughter's old desk out of the garage, and I was like, now I just work in the corner of our room. But, we have this beautiful office, and we were sitting opposite each other like this all day long.
I remember that too.
And I was going crazy. Like, I was like, no, I need some space. I need to shut your door and shut my door. So that's great. So now I kind of just at least have my own area, and I don't have to hear everything. He likes the TV on. I like to work in silence. So there was all of that. So that was a big one. And other than that, so it's just, is
a
it
little separation?
Sometimes it's annoying. It's like, no, I don't have to do that. If I wasn't here, you'd figure it out, but he's a man. So he still does man things, rely on, a woman to do.
Well, does he ever try to correct what you're doing?
No, we don't. We really complement each other in our roles more so than like he's not my superior, I'm not his superior. We really in a hierarchy are equal in that respect, and we don't really do the exact same role. So there's no competition. So
that's good.
No, that definitely isn't an issue. It's more just you wake up every day and he takes 2 steps to an office and I take 2 steps to a desk. Lunch every day, dinner every day, weekends, like there's no break,
Right.
So that's also why like going out for lunch is great, or he'll go out for lunch, or
you come to the hot mess gigs.
Right. Or, stuff like that. And I don't care, doesn't matter to me. People maybe don't understand that. Like, oh, where's your husband? And I'm like, anywhere I'm not on the week. Like, we're kind of that opposite, whereas most married couples look for that night and weekend time and they're like, we have that all day long, we're together. So come the weekend, there's a lot of flexibility, or there's, just a lot of ease, and he can go hang out with he watches football all day Sunday. He will not leave the house at all on Sunday. I can go and he's not bothered by me leaving or going out. He's not bothered by me making plans on a Saturday night, to go watch you sing. Totally fine. Even if he doesn't have plans, he might just be home doing nothing, but it doesn't bother him that it's a Saturday night and we're not together,
right,
because we have enough time,
right,
during the
week.
I
get it with all the time together from working.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a career highlight? I mean, do you have a very memorable experience you want to share in this line of work?
Like one specific,
maybe meeting someone amazing, besides Bon Jovi.
I met Lady Gaga.
Oh, really? How do I not know that?
Yeah, I met Lady Gaga at a Super Bowl. Super Bowl week is one of our bigger.
Yeah, right there. You get to go to Super Bowls,
Mm-hmm.
and
I don't go to the games. I'm home before Super Bowl Sunday, because the work that we do is all in the lead up of all of the appearances and media and opportunities for the clients that aren't playing in the game. So I'm not working for any of the 2 teams that are in the game. I'm doing all of the surrounding stuff, like if you've ever gone to an event like that and they're doing, and you love to go to the BravoCon. So all of the people that are on stage, if that, one event is the Super Bowl, leading up to it, there's meet and greets, there's autograph signings, right? There's picture taking opportunities and things like that. Maybe, I don't know because I've never gone, but perhaps wherever BravoCon is, maybe there's a club or a bar that's paying them to come out and people can buy tickets for that. Those type of events are the things that I do in the weeks leading up. Or a company that's engaged with a player all year long, like an NFL sponsor, like a Frito-Lay or a Pepsi or an Adidas or a Sleep Number. They will reserve a Super Bowl appearance for Super Bowl week for somebody. So I'm there to manage that appearance. This is a player not in the Super Bowl, not playing, but just doing, that kind of thing.
Was Lady Gaga
so
nice?
she was the halftime performer that year. I want to say it was at Atlanta or Houston.
I remember,
Right.
because I remember
She
my
jumped off
kids
that
dancing on the
Right.
couch.
So Pepsi, we worked with Pepsi at the time, and she was the halftime sponsor. So we were able to go to a meet and greet with VIPs, like a step and repeat picture taking opportunity, and then they took everybody over to the stadium to watch her rehearsal. So I got to watch her whole halftime
cool. And she's
thing
so
from the
talented.
stadium, on the 50-yard line, just with Pepsi VIPs and invited guests. So that was pretty cool.
That's a highlight, I would say.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to, let's say, a kid at University of Miami studying who really wants to get into?
Oh, I give that advice all the time. We have an internship program.
Oh, excellent.
Probably shouldn't have said that because now I'll get 1,000 calls. But we have an internship program, and we have a lot of kids that come that take the
competitive,
sports
I bet.
program at Miami. So I give that advice a lot, and it's just kind of open your horizons. Like if you tell me that you want to work in sports and you want to be an agent, that's great. It's a great aspiration, and there's nothing wrong with it. But for NFL specifically, there's only X amount of players that get a playing contract. It's not an unlimited number.
Right.
So if you're not one of those guys, you can't work being a sports agent in NFL. So think beyond NFL, MLB, there's other sports out there. And even think, on the other side, like what I do is the marketing side of it. And I still have an interaction, and I get to still work with athletes. Or think on the other side, which is the brands that I work with and the agencies that represent the brand. They still get to work with athletes in some way. And, while everyone loves NFL and, NBA and MLB, because those are there's so many more sports out there. Tennis
Hockey.
and golf
Love
and
hockey.
hockey and, so many other sports where the opportunities are great and you're still kind of doing similar things. And then you can build your way back to like the big three, right? Like you don't have to start there, but you could build your resume, around the world of sports. You could work for a team and do, a lot of that same stuff and work for any one of the professional or even non. Like, baseball has a ton of farm leagues and stuff like that. So
I imagine those are not easy jobs to get, though. It seems like.
no, I don't think so. I mean, from what I hear, it's competitive because I think it has a lot to do with all these programs that are in the colleges now, all these sports marketing and sports administration programs. It's a pathway, as where before you were a business major maybe, or you were a PR person and you kind of found your way there. The industry is growing and all these kids go to school for something. So the expectation is, as you go to college with a degree and a specialization, you think you're going to come out doing that. And that is great if you can, but sometimes it takes a while to get there. First job, not last job. But, kids these days, as you'll see in a few years in college, have very high expectations coming out of school. Very high expectations.
No, I remember you went through it with your daughter, an
Right.
Ivy League graduate, and it took a little bit of time. Do you have any female athletes, or it's all?
No, because we're NFL,
Oh, okay.
MLB, and NIL. So, and I guess across NIL we could, but we only have NIL in baseball and football. Like we don't do any of the other NIL sports where female athletes would be.
Got it. Okay. Well, if somebody wants to find out more about Rosenhaus and what you guys do, where can they find you?
Rosenhausport.com.
ROSENHAUS. Rosenhaussports.com. Well, thank you, Bari. This has been very informative, and I'm sure I'll see you socially soon.
Yes, I hope so. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Success of a Hot Mess. If you loved what you heard today, be sure to subscribe so you never miss a beat. And hey, sharing is caring. Share this podcast with your friends, family, and anyone who could use a dose of inspiration. Until next time, keep rocking those hot mess moments with style and grace. Cheers.